shit that you've been told, and you need that info. Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. Tune in to consciousness and watch the lies fold, then you can let the truth flow. On Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. When you feel that melanin about to explode, like you feel the wind blow. It's Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. I know you got the truth, but you can get more, so you continue to grow. Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV.
First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. We're going to give double honors to our elders, you know, the apostles, and say shalom to all the brothers out there doing work of truth and sincerity. You know, and the name of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai is the name of the Most High God of Israel, and the name of His only begotten Son, okay, who the world ignorantly knows as Christ. All right. You know, this is brother Chief Priest Ahlazar of BanLawya. I'm here with my deacon and brother Guerrilla here. You know, I'm also known as the Guerrilla Hebrew amongst the conscious community. And reason we here today is to basically answer Shakka Ahmose. Okay, he's been going on a rampage. He got a damn Energizer battery in his back. You know, and he's running around rampant. So it's about time he get checked, okay, by the Most High God's ambassadors, the prophets of the Most High God, okay, the children of Israel. All right, matter of fact, give me a scripture real quick. I need two quick ones. Let me get Numbers 31 and 49. We're gonna liken this conflict unto, you know, the story of the Exodus under Pharaoh versus Moses. All right, some real life for you, Shakka. Well, go ahead, give me that Numbers 31 and 49.
This is Numbers chapter 31, verse 49. And they said unto Moses, Thy servants have taken the sum of the men of war which are under our charge, and there lacketh not one man of us.
That's right, there lacketh not one man of us. So I just want you to, I wanted to read that so you understand who you up against. You don't have that batter in your back, you're running around, you feeling yourself. You know, brothers is leaving you alone. They made a conscientious effort to go on ahead and leave you alone because you ain't really talking about nothing. You're trying to make the same argument polite and said he already got murdered on, okay? You just a little more scholarly than them, so you come with a little bit more, but it's the same exact argument. And dudes keep getting bodied on it. So I don't even know why you is running around blowing the smoke. You are, but you know, we coming to answer it. Because understand, not one man lacketh over here, man. Okay, we coming in the name of the Most High God of Israel, the only living God, okay?
That's
not
right.
no idol, all right? I just want to make that plain and clear. Give me Proverbs 18 to 17, if you could, Papa Shop, briefly. Okay, I want to get these scriptures to build a foundation. And we're going to get into some of the claims, the outrageous and outlandish claims this man has been making. Okay, we're going to make a diligent inquisition and get to the bottom of your bullshit. Shot, go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 18, verse 17. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just.
Go ahead.
But his neighbor cometh and searcheth him.
His neighbor cometh and searcheth him. See, this is the scripture I always go to when I'm dealing with you so-called conscious cats. Reason being, because that's a cold cut. Y'all always is the first one spouting off at the mouth. And everything you saying, it sounds really good and it sounds right until your neighbor, which in this case is me, my brother, comes and searches you out and gets to the bottom of your bullshit. Makes a diligent inquisition. What does the word inquisition mean? It means a quest. I'm going to quest into the knowledge and the information that you're bringing out, and I'm going to prove which is right and which is wrong about the claims that you're making. Okay? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, might I add. All right? The first order of business, matter of fact, give me Galatians 5 and 26. Shakka, in one of his first videos in regards to getting at us as Hebrew Israelites, the brother says what? He says, I want the glory. He made that statement. He said, I'll take on the whole Hebrew Israelite community by myself because I want the glory. And what you did by making that statement, my brother, I'm going to tell you what you did. What you did was point out one of the most fatal flaws of the Kemetic Nile Valley civilization. You pointed out one of the greatest flaws. I want you to read that. Galatians 5:26.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 26. Let us not be desirous of vain glory.
Let us not be desirous of vain glory. You see, when you deal with the system that the Hebrew Israelite system that the Most High God gave to us as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, what we are dealing with here is a system based upon structure, order, and humility. Okay, a level of humility unparalleled by Kemet. Kemet has no form of humility like this. That's why you can make statements like, it's about me and I'm coming. I want to take on the whole Hebrew Israelite community because I want the glory. The scriptures say what? Let us not be desirous of vainglory. We are coming here to establish truth, the truth of the Most High God of Israel. It's not about the Hebrew. It's not about any particular Hebrew Israelite sect or camp. This is about the Most High God of Israel, the God that the Bible speaks of. Okay, and that's the humility that we put. We put our deity ahead of us. You don't. You put yourself and you turn yourself into a demigod when you say the things that you do. Okay, now let me get 1 Timothy 1:17 real quick. You got something else? Okay, go ahead.
This is Titus, the 1st chapter, verse 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers.
An unruly and vain talker, that's you. An unruly and vain talker, okay? You just spouting off at the mouth, and most of the shit you talking is bullshit, and we gonna prove it. Go ahead.
And deceivers.
And deceivers. Liar, you a deceiver. You are deceiving the people, either ignorantly or knowingly. Go ahead.
Especially they of the circumcision.
What does that mean, especially they of the circumcision? You are the circumcision. Now, whether you are actually circumcised or not, that's not the point. Don't think carnally here. They of the circumcision means those who are Hebrew Israelites, those of the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who you claim didn't exist. And we're going to get to the bottom of that in a second. But those of the circumcision are us as blacks here in America, okay, and elsewhere, and in Africa, and in West Africa, okay, yeah, and even in parts of East Africa, yeah, we're there, we're all over the world. But we're dealing primarily with those of us here in the Americas because these are the people that I personally interact with on a daily basis. So we deal mostly with those of us here in the Western Hemisphere. Are there Hebrew Israelites in Africa? Yes. Okay, and you prove that, actually, okay? And just for one example, let's take a look at the Limba tribe out there in Kenya. All right, but go ahead.
Whose mouths must be stopped.
Whose mouth must be stopped. So the Most High God says, Shakka, Ahmose mouth must be stopped, okay? You done spouted off. I let a lot of it slide. For it's been a while. He's trying to heat up. I said, man, I can't take this anymore. I can't allow this guy to deceive the people and lie and continue in this arrogant, proud rant with this battery in his back. Go ahead.
Who subvert whole houses.
Subvert whole houses. That's what you subvert no houses. You leading people to the path of damnation with your madness. Read.
Teaching things which they ought not.
Teaching things which they ought not. That Kemetic stuff that you teaching is something that you ought not teach. The Nile Valley civilization is not what is expedient for our people. And that's what the debate needs to be about. And I would love to debate you on that. The Nile Valley civilization versus the Bible. Which is more expedient for our people in this day and age? That's what the debate needs to be about. Something real. Something that can help our people today. Which is better for our people right now? That's what we need to debate. So that's what I'm challenging you to debate, Shakka. If I got to fly out there to New York, then let's make it happen. Okay, go ahead.
What do you want to tell me?
Oh, give me 1 Timothy 1:17.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 17.
Let's go to Timothy, right? Go ahead.
Now unto the King eternal, immortal, invisible.
The King eternal, meaning the Most High God. The eternal, immortal, invisible King that we cannot see, but is ever present. Right? Go ahead.
The only wise God.
The only wise God. Them Kemetic gods are not wise gods, especially in comparison to the Most High God of Israel. Read.
Be honor and glory.
Be honor and glory. Glory and honor, right? Halal wa hadar. Okay? Glory and honor and praises to who? To the Most High God, not to any man. Okay, go ahead.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? So you out here seeking vain glory, and that in of itself, you set yourself up for failure. And then you coming up against the God of Israel. All right? You might as well have slit your own throat in this one, my brother. You might as well have already cut your horse like and handed it to me, my brother. But you ain't just handed it to me. You handed it over to the truth of the Most High God of Israel. Okay? But let's get into some of these things he said, because I got some notes. I've been watching you. I've been watching you for a while, and I'll say that to a degree I respect a lot of your scholarship. Upon the first time I seen you in one of the videos when you were making a critical examination of Islam and the information you was bringing out about Islam, especially dealing with the Mesopotamian university system and things of that nature, information that I know that I personally knew, but I haven't heard that many people bring out. I was impressed by your scholarship. I'm not gonna lie. You know a lot. I'm not gonna sit here and say that you're just some idiot or some clown. You know, I'm not that type of dude. I'm a respectable dude. You can ask Sarnetta, you can ask any of them guys, Ali Muhammad, Sankofa, any of them different individuals from the conscious community that I know you rub shoulders with and have respect for. You know what I'm saying? I'm a respectable dude, you know, and I got to tip my hat to you in a lot of regards. But as far as what you were saying about the Bible and Israel and things of that, you're making erroneous errors, okay? And we're going to expose how illogical the things that you say are and how unsubstantiated some of the claims that you make are, okay? Now, you said in one of your videos that you recently made on Sunday TV, you admitted that ancient Egypt had religion and then automatically tried to recant it. You had religion, you had mythology, you had theology, you had a spiritual system. Do not ever say Egypt was not rooted in religion, because you'd be a goddamn liar, my brother. Anything that has mythology and theology, that is a religion. There was a pantheon in Egypt. You had the Memphite pantheon, and you had the other pantheon, which is the Heliopolis pantheon. You had two different pantheons that merged together and became one pantheon. What is a pantheon? Meaning all gods, right? That's what it means. So you had gods. There was a religious system. Don't deny that. Y'all trying to act like y'all not religious when y'all are some of the most religious people on the planet Earth as so-called black people following the Kemetic thinking and way of life. You understand what I'm saying? Some of the most religious motherfuckers ever, right? And that's what it needs to be. Okay, Mayat is a system. The Torah is a system. We need to go system for system and prove which system is the most expedient and beneficial for us as people of color who are suffering, you know, in the diaspora, suffering after, post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? This is what we need to deal with, my brother. You know, this is what all the rest of that stuff is just a dick measuring contest, quite frankly. Let's see which is better for our people and which we can immediately apply today to our lives to see positive results on a communal and national level. That's what we need to see. What can better us as individuals and what can better us as a whole, as black people here in America. That's what we need to do, and that's what we need to put to the test. So let's do it. Torah Maya. I mean, it's on you now. Okay, you've been going around, you've been calling Hebrews out. Well, now I'm calling you out, the Guerrilla Hebrew. Okay, but let me let's go to the next point. And then now look, what he wants to do is he wants us to prove that the Bible isn't plagiarized when he can't even read. Here's what I want you to do. I'm not even going to say you can't even read because I'm not sure. Okay, but there was over 4,000 characters in the Medu Neter. Can you read those? I want to take a random piece of Medu Neter hieroglyphic. I want to pick a random piece out and I want you to read it. You can pick a random piece of Hebrew and we can read it. You can do that. I want you to show me a random piece of Medu Neter that you can read with no problem, or you can read at least mediocrely. Okay, show me that. But you want me to prove that my text isn't plagiarized when you don't even truly know your text in its original form. We can read our text in the original form. We write even more original than the Torahs that you see today, because we deal with the Paleo Hebrew. The Paleo Hebrew that these white people don't even know what to do with. We actually deal with that, okay? We can write it, we can speak it, okay, and we can read it. Can you do that with the Medu Neter is the question. With the 4,000 character language, can you do that? You tell me how many of the translations of the Book of the Dead you read, that's cool. I can sit here and tell you I read the King James, the New King James, the New Living Translation, the Revised Standard Version, the Good News Translation. That's cool, but what matters the most is what it says in the Hebrew and in the Greek. That's what matters the most. So I want you to take a look at the Medu Neter, and I want you to read that Medu Neter and prove that you are a scholar in the Medu Neter. And if not, that's cool, but at least admit that. And don't be so critical to my text when you can't even read your text in its original form to even confirm that the translations in which were made by these cracker scholars are accurate. Okay? Real life. And you criticize, you say, oh, y'all just, anything that some Jewish guy said, y'all take it and parrot it and I'll make you look stupid. Well, crackers went here and told you that the Medu Neter say what it say. Irregardless of any claim you make or any brother, any so-called black man that came along later and tried to do the translation, his translations were still based off the white man translations. We have to deal with that. You cannot logically be so critical to somebody else's text when you yourself cannot read your own in its original form. I'm sorry, you just can't do it. And if you are doing it, you're making yourself look stupid, because I'll pull out a piece of Medu Neter, I'll blow it up on that big screen and I'll say, read it. And you'll be sitting there staring, looking stupid, okay? With that horse like bouncing around all over the goddamn place, trying to look for help. All right, let's go to the next point though. And then you continue to accuse us of plagiarization. Okay, you would continue to accuse us of plagiarization as if Egypt stands alone. Egypt got all of this stuff from Cush. You got everything from Cush, and even the Egyptian Renaissance came at what time? When the Cushites took over. When the Cushites went back into Egypt and started to reign as pharaohs, like Taharka and such, that's when the Egyptian Renaissance started. And that's when you've seen overwhelming Kushite themes in the theology, in the art, and in the architecture of ancient Egypt. Let's not deny that. And if you deny that, or if you say I'm lying, don't worry. I have the documentation and I can prove that. I'm just talking a little bit right now. I'm just giving you a little taste just like you were. I'm going to show and prove a few things. We're going to go into some artifacts and a little bit of history in a second. But don't sit here and act like the Kemetic Renaissance was not ushered in by the Kushite pharaohs. Okay? Don't ever act, and don't act like Kemet didn't get everything it got from Kush in and of itself. Okay? And the Bible tells us that Kush, Babylon, the Kushites that ruled Babylon were the ones that gave birth to the different mystery systems all over the earth. Kemet being one of them. And that's in the Bible. And you have the nerve to say the Bible is not a history book, which we're going to get to the bottom of that as well. Okay? And then, but here's what I got to do. I got to tip my hat to you again. I got to thank you for your scholarship. You disqualified Babylon and Timbuktu. You disqualified Hebrew wisdoms of West Africa, which you really didn't disqualify them, but you made claims against them. And then you brought in the Africans that wrote the Bible by the brother Dakwa. And I appreciate that you did that, because I took a look into that book, which we're going to go, and I'm going to pull it up here on the slides here in a second, some excerpts of that book. And I got it, I'm getting ready to order it, but I got some excerpts offline from that book. And they're beautiful excerpts. And that book actually brings more substantiating information that proves that Babylon, the Timbuktu, and Hebrew wisdoms of West Africa were on point. So I appreciate your scholarship on that, because I'm going to use that book, and I'm going to have to dagger you with that book, even though you own it and you read it. If you own and read that book and you make some of the claims that you make, you stupid as hell, man. I'm just going to come quite frank with you. You're being stupid for that, man. Okay? Because that book substantiates a whole lot, and it's written by an Ashanti himself, an Akan himself, rather. You see what I'm saying? So, we're going to get into that here in a second. Don't worry, I got a lot of information for you, my brother. And then he calls what we're into Jewish mythology, right? He calls what we're into Jewish mythology and say it's not African. But then he says that we stole it from Kemet. So if in fact we stole it from Kemet, then how is our system not African? Can you explain that? And here's what I want to do. I want to take a lot of your arguments, like I take a lot of you guys' arguments, and I want to entertain them. Well, let's say what you're saying is true here. And what happens is you have a defeatist logic, because your logic in one point, if used in another point, defeats your entire premise. So what you have to do is you have to stay on point with your logic. Because to say our system is not African as you would define it, but to say we stole from you is an oxymoron. Okay, it's oxymoronic. That would prove that our system is African. Okay, and that would prove that there was what you would consider an African people who did that. Okay. What was my next point? Real quick. And then this dude, which I mentioned earlier, he said there is no existence of the Hebraic patriarchy. There's no existence of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, here's the problem, right? I did a video. My second video on Sonnet TV was called "The Guerrilla Hebrew: Time to Show and Prove." I suggest you go and check that out, because in that I cited several things. Okay, I cited the tombs of several Hebraic biblical characters, and there's a tomb called the Tomb of the Patriarch that have the remains of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob within it. We already shut this down. We prerequisitely, you got to get on, before you start making these claims about the Hebrew Israelites, you need to check some of our work out and deal with some of these prerequisites, because we already have archaeologically verified these things. Okay, that's what I did on that video, Time to Show and Prove. Went through biblical archaeology, validating the Bible as an accurate history book and validating characters and individuals that were written in the scriptures. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Pontius Pilate, Caiaphas the high priest, and who the world calls Jesus Christ being some of them. Okay? Either their bones, their remains, a testament of their existence from outside sources outside of Israel, or their tombs have all been discovered and are archaeologically verifiable. Okay? Go check that out for them sources. Okay, the Guerrilla Hebrew, A Time to Show and Prove. All right? You got to deal with certain things, and this is something that we need to do in the community, because you mentioned the Enuma Elish. And Tazariak, in that debate, when he destroyed Polite, already disqualified the Enuma Elish. If we have done some research and submitted it to the conscious community, those things need to be accepted, and claims like, oh, we stole it from the Enuma Elish, never need to be made again, because Tazariak already went to the Smithsonian article on how the Enuma Elish translation originated, okay? Which is bullshit. They made it sound like the Bible on purpose, all right? which is probably what they did in Kemet, but you can't read the wall, so you can't tell me that they didn't. Okay, for the record. God damn it, okay?
Make some shit up.
Yeah, they can say anything. These crackers can say anything they want to say, man. And they've been following the ways of ancient Egypt. You don't even understand why the so-called white man went around ruling with the church. You don't even have an understanding of that. You don't understand why the so-called white man used the Catholic Church as an engine to conquer the world. You have no idea even about that. Not carnally and not spiritually, okay? So what you need to do is talk about the things you qualify to talk about, which ain't much because you can't even read the Medu Neter. All right? You can't, and even if you can't read some of it, I know you can't read all 4,000 characters, my brother. Let's just be honest here, okay? But I'm gonna continue. All right. Okay, and then this dude says he doesn't accept eyewitness reports as evidence. He doesn't accept eyewitness reports as evidence. All right, but he'll accept a Eurocentric reconstruction of historical events. The so-called white man will take a look at certain evidence, piece of a hypothetical story together into what they think that occurred and submit it as a part of a historical record, and you would accept that, but you won't accept an eyewitness account of somebody. That is fucking illogical. That's what I'm saying. We have to attack the logic of some of you so-called conscious guys, because you are very illogical in some of the claims that you make and the things that you say and how you formulate arguments. Okay? These are not logical arguments. And again, I can take your same logic that you have in certain arguments and use it against you and other arguments, right? And you would totally disqualify and dismantle yourself. Okay? So you need to be on your P's and Q's a little more, Shaq. Alright? And then he claims that the Bible isn't a history book, right? Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to I want you to read the book of 2 Chronicles, the 12th chapter. Not you, I want Shakka. Shakka, read 2 Chronicles, the 12th chapter, and then read the Bubasite portal in Kemet. And tell me that those aren't the same things, or speaking about the same events, similar accounts of the same events. Then I want you to look at the black obelisk, and then I want you to read 2 Kings, the 10th chapter. And then again, tell me the Bible isn't a history book, okay? And if you say, well, oh, they plagiarized that, that's not a plagiarization. That's like saying, if the USA Today published a story today, and the LA Times publishes a story on the same event tomorrow, that the LA Times plagiarized the USA Today. Is that what happened? No, that's not what the fuck happened. It's objective reporting from different perspectives on the same event. And that's what we see with the Black Obelisk and in the book of 2 Kings, and the same thing with 2 Chronicles and the Bubasite portal, okay? And those aren't the only ones, okay? So that's illogical to say that something's plagiarized off of that basis, okay? If that's the case, then people plagiarize each other every day when you talk about the same thing somebody else had already talked about before. That's fucking ridiculous. Okay? And then I want you to go read the Teldan inscription, and then read 2 Kings, the 8th and the 9th chapter, and then read the Assyrian Lakesh reliefs, and then read 2 Kings, the 18th chapter. And those are just 4 archaeological, extra Judea verifiable historical events that we see in the Bible recorded. Okay? Recorded in the Bible. Verifying what? That the Bible is in fact a book of history. Okay? So that whole, take that argument, man, and throw it somewhere else, man. Because that shit ain't gonna work against somebody who know what the fuck they talking about. I'm gonna just be frank with you, my brother. Okay? And then, okay, so the claim that you made, which was a very interesting claim, okay, and it was actually a good claim that you made, okay, and I give you credit because I know that you're an intellectual researcher, okay, based off of the fact that you made this claim, which Polite and said he did not make, okay, which I mean, I don't want to really insult their intelligence too much, which they didn't have the prowess to make, which was the comparison in the eschatology, okay. I appreciate the fact that you said that Israel stole from Egypt's eschatology. Of all things, I appreciate that the most. Reason being is because it's new, it's unique. I haven't heard other conscious guys come with that claim, okay? And it's an interesting claim, okay? But what I'm going to show you is a few scriptures. And I'm going to show you, and number one, the Egyptian eschatology has far more mythology incorporated into it than Israelite eschatology, okay? For the record. Far more mythology, yet we're a religion and we believe in a spook God, but y'all eschatology. So I guess this heat and this information we bring it is too goddamn much for you. Come on, man. 3 questions. You said we stuck in 900 BCE. Are you sure about that? You said that through the Nile Valley civilization, you're going to give women back their just due. Are you sure about that? Because you're going to have to answer all those 3 questions. But I'm just giving you the surface of it, okay? And the reason why I'm asking you is because if you answer how you gave it in the videos, you gonna hang yourself by that horse like my brother. Straight up and down. Straight up and down. Judaism is the African way of life. Judaism was the religion developed in Africa by African people. It was adopted and adapted in a similar fashion to the Yoruba Orisha worship. Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, which is true. When you take a look at the Voodoo priesthood, you take a look at the Levitical priesthood, they're identical, okay? Which us as so-called Haitians are the tribe of Levi, right? So we dealt with the Voodoo, and we are, because we anciently dealt with the Levitical priesthood, right? And it's still being co-opted and altered by non-Africans today. So what is a lot of the dogma in it, and what are a lot of the flaws in the so-called Judeo-Christian ideology is European corrupting of our actual customs, okay? To speak of an African influence on Judaism is like speaking of an African influence on Orisha worship, which is African, right? It is not an African influence, it is still African and represents African way of life. Dakwa points to the story of Jacob in Genesis 32 from the 29th verse to 24 verse to 29th verse, where the angel comes and renamed him Jacob, calling him Asrei. Americans and Europeans assume that the Bible is about them, but the Bible is about my ancient ancestors and me. This is what Dakwa said. An Akan man said the Bible is about my ancient ancestors and me, not no goddamn cracker. That's what Dakwa said, an actual Akan brother from Africa. Okay, you see that? Related to many of the Ashanti and Akan slaves that was put on the boats and brought especially over to the West Indies. Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, the name of the Most High God in Israel, in the name of His only begotten Son. Okay, double honors to my elders and Shalom to the Akim out there. It's your brother, the Guerrilla Hebrew, you know, finishing up where I left off, dealing with this dude, Shakka Ahmose, okay, and all his critiques and all that stuff he keep talking about Israel, man. Hey, you gotta watch it, Shak, man. I'm just gonna keep it all the way. You need to watch out. Because then I was watching, you know, the 2-hour video, that long video, how he was showing his library and all these books, and he pulled out a book about a slave narrative. Oh, you got to read the slave narratives. Oh, y'all need to be quiet. The slaves ain't talking about the Israelites. Look, man, and you got to watch. Your mouth is writing checks that damn horse lot can't cash, my brother. You need to go check out my scholarship. Go put in YouTube, Guerrilla Hebrew, did the white man give us the Bible, and show where I show countless sources of countless slave narratives from countless sources all over the South, attesting to and identifying with the empowerment that using the Bible from the perspective as the blacks being the Israelites are. All right, look that up, okay? And you can see the scholarship of over an hour or about an hour lecture where I go and I show countless source after source after source, man. Okay, and don't forget, you see this Haitian flag right here. I'm Haitian. Okay, the Haitian Revolution. Goody Bookman, to some of it, to all of them, okay, they used the Bible as a tool of black supremacy, and it fueled the revolution, and it fueled the decapitation and the burning of every cracker on that island, man, okay, every cracker on that island, okay. So don't be over here talking all down. I want you to show me where in the Americas the Book of the Dead fueled the revolution that led to black liberation. Show it to me. You can't, but I can show you right here, my country, where my forefathers come from, okay, Haiti, la Union fait la force, okay, you see what I'm saying? I come from that, all right, and we use the Bible in order to do that, okay? Legendary brothers, all right, that killed these crackers, man, okay? So that, this is what black supremacy is about, and the black supremacy is in that Bible, okay? And there's various ways to prove that, all right? So don't be sitting here talking about no slave narratives, boy, because I got countless sources and references on the slave narratives and slaves identifying themselves as Hebrew Israelites. Okay, all throughout slavery, all over the Americas, in various plantations, different states, all that. So don't come with that, man. Take that argument and put it in the suitcase and act like you never brought it out, because you're going to lose on that. But what I want to get into a little bit of the eschatology, because that's where we left off, the eschatology. And like I said, I commend you for making that, claim. Because like I said, other individuals did not have the prowess to deal with that terminology and that claim and that ideological part of the two cultures and systems. Okay, so I appreciate your critique of the eschatology, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose it, and I'm going to show you that critique is not right and exact. Okay, this is Ecclesiastes 3:16. And moreover, I saw under the sun, meaning here on earth, the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. So here is where the judgment happens, all right? Because what happens is after you die, your spirit goes into a neutral point in another dimension and awaits its time to come back here on earth. This is scientifically proven. Well, I mean, not so necessarily scientifically proven, but we can observe a similar cycle in science because our lives and our spirits are on a cycle according to the Hebraic, so-called Hebraic perspective, okay? From the Hebrew Israelite perspective, this is what occurs. What occurs is your spirit ascends into the fourth dimension and awaits its time to come back onto this earth through a vessel, whatever fleshly vessel is ordained unto you. You understand what I'm saying? That is not something that's a part of the Egyptian eschatology. The Egyptian eschatology is something full of outlandish mythology. So for you to even make that comparison in and of itself was, I mean, I understand, I'm going to be honest, I understand why you made it, but you made it based off of a preconceived notion in regards to dogmatic teachings of the Bible that is accepted by the mainstream. That's what that entire premise of you making that claim is even based upon. It's not actually based upon Bible verses and scriptures. According to the Bible, hell is the grave or a state of condition and oppression that you live out on the earth. Heaven is a kingdom that is yet to be established on the earth, but there's also heaven in the sense of the sky, heaven in the sense of, outer space, and heaven in the sense of the fourth dimension. But these are not places where you receive judgment in your afterlife. It clearly, as we clearly just read in Ecclesiastes 3:16, the judgment is here on earth. This is when you live out your judgment. When you come back down in your new vessel, your new body, which body means what? Abode, home, right? A home of what? Home for your spirit. Okay, I understand that Egyptian theology and mythology, or, Egyptian ideology, Kemetic ideology rather, does have themes of reincarnation in it. I'm not going to say that reincarnation is a unique thing to us or that Kemet doesn't have reincarnation in it. But as far as the eschatological part, they vary differently, okay? There, like I said, the mythology, the deep-rooted mythology in Kemetic ideology and eschatology is far more different than that of Israel, okay? You can only go to Catholicism and Sanhedrin influenced dogmatic doctrines, which are heavily influenced by Cushite mythology and Kemetic mythology. Okay, you could go there because those are skewed versions of this actual book. They're not with the things that are written here in this actual book. And that's where the problem lies, brother. Okay, so again, good claim on the eschatology, but close but no cigar. You're mistaken on the actual biblical eschatology. Heaven and hell, all of that bullshit, that's not biblical in the sense in which that most people understand it to be. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, that's out of the window, all right? And, again, for you to sit here and critique and say that we follow mythology and things of that nature, when you open up that Egyptian Book of the Dead, that is epic mythology in there, okay? Epic mythology. But there's something I definitely want to let you know, my brother Shakka, is that what you do, you make terrible errors. And I'm going to tell you someplace you err. You disqualify yourself. You disqualify yourself from being non-objective. That's your issue. You disqualify yourself from being non-objective because you rely far too much upon perception, your own personal perception of things in your opinions. And that's your problem. And that's why you disqualify yourself from being non-objective. You are far too Kemetically biased when you absorb information to truly give an accurate scholastic opinion on something, okay? Now, you talk about you only respect PhDs and you only read PhDs. Well, let me tell you something. There's a PhD by the name of Dr. L.M. Beret, okay? 1986 Vanderbilt University graduate, a who's who in theology in America, and he's very familiar with Egyptology. In my first interaction with him, and I give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, in the name of His only begotten Son. In my first interaction with him, we engaged in an immediate debate on the street. And I schooled him to archaeological lessons that he, as a profound accredited scholar, didn't even know. I put him up on new biblical archaeology that he didn't know about. Pottery that he didn't know about that exists in Israel, that he didn't even know about. To the point where he respects me so much that every single time he sees me, he makes sure to give me 30 minutes to an hour of my time to sit here and go back and forth and chop it up about ancient Israel, ancient Egypt, Sumer, all of that. And I build with him and I get information from him. You understand what I'm saying? So you're dealing with that PhD. And what he told me, if you want your scholastic opinion accepted, you have to be totally non-biased when absorbing information. And your problem is, scholastically, you are always Kemetically biased, man. And the fact that you're Kemetically biased disqualifies your commentary and your scholastic opinion and perspective in a lot of ways, brother, because you are far too biased. And you can ask, man, let me tell you something. You call Real Black Atheist Uncle Keck right now, or Angozi, Jonathan, the brothers from the Amon Ra Squad, Ishmael Allah Bey, you understand what I'm saying, and other various brothers that I've dealt with in the conscious community that are not Hebrew Israelites, that deal with the Kemetic perspective, even that deal with the Moorish perspective, dealing with the Muslim perspective, dealing with, the brother Imam Bashir and things like that, right? And they'll all tell you that I can absorb and give opinions without bias, okay? Especially Uncle Ken. I done sat on the phone with him for long periods of time and discussed various things and topics, and I've given non-biased opinions, and I've required it of him to also give non-biased opinions and to keep us honest. When you're biased, you're not being honest, okay? You're like marking out for Kemet too much because you feel so entrenched in it. You're like somebody who was raised up in Catholicism, brother. You were raised up in a religion, and you are so devout to that religion that it skews your thoughts sometimes and discredits your scholastic opinion. So what you're going to have to do is step up out of your box a little bit and let go of that bias and call things straight down the middle sometimes. Okay, because it's affecting your scholarship. Not saying that you're not a scholar and that you're not a true researcher and you don't know what it is you're talking about. You do know what it is you're talking about sometimes, but sometimes your opinion is too skewed because you were too deeply indoctrinated and entrenched with Nile Valley civilization to be honest about certain things. Okay? So that's something that's got to be addressed, and I got to let that be known right now. And he speaks about different origin stories and their similarities and it's plagiarized. Now, here's the thing, right? If two different people have the same story of origin, does that lead to you to believe that it's plagiarization or that they are of a common origin? That doesn't even make any sense. If me and you came out of the same womb, we grew up in the same hood in the same projects, and we told the same story, right, about our origin, does that mean I plagiarized you because you said it first or you were a little older than me? That's what I'm saying. You cannot be so illogical, and that's why I got to keep attacking the logic of a lot of so-called Kemetic dudes. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're being too illogical and you're rushing to inaccurate conclusions because you're marking out for Kemet. And that's the problem. Don't be a Kemetic mark. Be a true scholar. Scholars have to take a look and dissect and digest and absorb information from a non-biased perspective. You cannot be biased. Okay? It will affect and discredit your opinion. Something that I didn't like is the fact how you brought up the Bible and you said, well, this is the only book you need. Why you guys go outside the Bible? This is the only book we need. We don't need to go outside the Bible. Truth be told, we can look at world history, prophecy, history written before it even actually happened, which validates the Bible, the prophecies. You can't go nowhere in Kemet and showing the prophecies, okay, other than that propagandist prophecy that was written after the thing occurred to be made look like it's a prophecy because Kemet didn't have any prophets. Let's be honest here. Israel had prophets. We can see things like the Roman Empire being wrote about in grave detail. Like you said, let's entertain the fact that what the Bible was written. Let's entertain the fact, which is not true, but I want to entertain your argument that it didn't exist until the writing of what is that, the Septuagint, right? Until the scribing of the Septuagint. That's fine. Let's entertain that idea. The Roman Empire didn't rise in the Septuagint. The Roman Empire is described in vivid detail in biblical prophecy in the book of Daniel. Now, in the New Testament, it is also referenced in the New Testament, but it's written in the book of Daniel. Okay. Which, like I said, we'll give it only until the time of the Sanhedrin. You understand what I'm saying? But still, it's written in vivid detail before it happened. Can you explain to me why that is? Because the Bible has prophecies in it, and you can't deal with those prophecies, my brother, because you don't have prophecies in Egypt. Egypt had no idea it was going to fall. Jerusalem did. Egypt had no idea the white man was going to rise and try to paint white images on black faces. Israel did. You see what I'm saying? So what that does is take points away from the Kemetic Nile Valley civilization in and of itself. But like I said, we could go, we don't have to go outside the Bible, but in engaging with certain individuals wanting more substantiating proof, we have. But then you're going to criticize us for going outside of the Bible when it was y'all that criticized us for sticking in the Bible. So as soon as we go outside of the Bible, now you don't want it to go. I guess this heat and this information we bring it is too goddamn much for you. Come on, man. No, us as Hebrew Israelites, we not to be played with. I seen you go up to a few brothers camp. I just seen a video. You went to the GMS brothers camp. You went to IUIC. I mean, that's cute and stuff. But guess what? I wouldn't, as far as especially what I seen with the IUIC, I wouldn't have handled it like that. You know what I'm saying? You got questions, you trying to learn, you trying to get schooled, we can school you, brother. Or we can build, whatever you trying to do. But I'm looking forward to further dialoguing with you and continuing this topic. We need to deal with some of these things. You know what I'm saying? But you're not a stupid brother. You're a bright brother, okay? But the thing is, we need to discuss some certain things. You got to come up off that Kemetic bias and start dwelling in the neutral lane so we can really scholastically chop some things up and build on some things from a biased perspective, brother. You got to get rid of that bias, or your scholastic opinion will not be respected. I'm just telling you what the scholars tell me, brother. You know, I'm just telling you what the scholars tell me, okay? And I respect that neutral ground, to where if we could come to a neutral ground where I could put for a second everything to the side, and you could put for a second everything to the side. Let me tell you something. I got a series, right, that we do on my YouTube channel called Israelites Undercover, where we call various pastors. And I come basically on an undercover level. Like I'll call a pastor and I'll say, yeah, I seen these guys on the street corner. They were saying this, this, and that. And I'll point some scriptures out to the pastor. And I told the pastor, I said, look, put yourself out. I said, what's your race? He said, Caucasian. I said, put yourself out of it. I said, from a non-objective standpoint, can you see the point that somebody would make if they use these scriptures to say that the Israelites are black people, and these scriptures to say that the Edomites are white people, and these scriptures to justify the enslavement of the white race? You know what this motherfucker told me? Yes. A straight up white man told me yes, he saw that point, even though that it means that him and his people would be enslaved. You see what I'm saying? So what you got to do is humble yourself down, because that's an issue you that I've seen you have. You've been having too much pride, brother. You got to humble yourself down and deal with everything from a non-biased perspective, because it's going to improve the scholastic conversation that we can have. You know, aside from debates and things of that nature, I'm talking about just scholastically building, because we're going to have to build it. We're going to have some conversations before we really even get in the ring. Let's talk about some things, because like I said, you're a bright brother. And we can definitely build on different points, man. You know, especially with what you did to the Muslims, man. I really respected that scholarship. Because I'm familiar with much of it. So the fact that you did it, I say, yeah, man, that brother, he went in. I debated the Muslim, but I gave him the diet version of some of that scholarship. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just wanted to throw that in and address some of that, man. You know, oh, and real quick, too. When you seen the brothers over there, Israel United in Christ, you said, oh, it said the Jews, but they not Jews, they black Hebrew Israelites. Okay, don't listen. Another issue I got with a lot of you Kemetic dudes is when you play that sick ass semantical game. Do not play that sick ass semantical game. Number one, the term Jews. What does the term Jew originate from? Number one, it originates from the Babylonian captivity of the Israelites. The term Jew is given to the kingdom of Judah, the southern kingdom. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the so-called African American, West Indian, and Haitian men. Okay, for the record. All right. That's who the Jews were. So during the time of Christ, when Christ was in Judea, it referred to them as the Jews. Why? Because those were the three tribes that remained in the land of Israel, while the other tribes came over here to the Americas and are now what you know as the Latinos and Native Americans. Okay, so that's what it means when the Jews. As a nation, we are Hebrew Israelites. The black is something that the so-called white man put on it, because you don't have to add in the fact that Hebrew Israelites are black. The Bible clearly tells you that the Hebrew Israelites are a black people and a black nation of various shades of brown. Not even black in all actuality. We various shades of brown from dark to light, right? But the whole thing is, those Jewish people are identity thieves. They're not actual Jews. You know they're Khazarians. We all know they're Khazarian Ashkenazis. You can't be an Ashkenazi Jew according to the Bible. Ashkenazi are the seed of Japheth. And Israelites are of the seed of Shem. So all those things, don't play that new speak game. According to the Bible, the Jews and the Hebrew Israelites are so-called black people, and are us, the black people here in America, and also in parts of Africa and all over the world. Okay, so I want to make that plain and clear. Don't come playing that semantics. Let's deal with real scholarship, no pseudo scholarship, and I look forward to building with you and debating you, brother. Shalom.